it began actually with Mr. Haney, Michael Haney. When I was teaching at the art school, I became friends with the caretaker of the school. And I used to take my lunch with him in the basement. And one day he was telling me about his dad and how so many people were writing from across Canada to do his portrait. And I thought, well, why would they be doing that? What's special about your dad? He says, well, my dad is 107 years old. Oh, I see. And he says, I thought maybe you would like to do a portrait of him. And I said, I think I would, actually. So, but I would have to meet with him and get to know him a little bit. He says, well, okay, well, one afternoon, we'll go over there and have tea with him. So within a few weeks, we went over to his dad's place and had tea with the old man. And I realized at that point that if I was to do a portrait of him somehow, I couldn't treat it in the same kind of jocular way that I had treated a lot of other portraits of people. And so I did this portrait of him, which is going to be in the show. And it's quite a solid little Egyptian-looking piece that afterwards I thought, well, maybe I can do these portraits in a different way. And not long after that, I moved to Pence. And not shortly after that, my father died in the month of January 1972. And I was really shocked by this. I'd never really experienced death at close range like that. And I couldn't believe that my dad was actually dead and you couldn't talk to him or see him. So it left me in a state of grief, of course, and then I wanted to recreate that life through my work, and I started working on his portrait. And of course, I had to, climb new heights in terms of how I dealt with the portrait. I didn't want to make a sentimental piece. I wanted to do something that would sort of reflect his character and his life, and the solidity of his being. So I made him in a very kind of, I think, thoughtful way, very solidly based, with his elbows on his knees and leaning forward on the edge of his chair, which is the way he sat. Often when he was in the deep discussion or thought process or thoughts. So yeah, it did change the way that I thought of doing portraits, to do that portrait. But it had a bit of an antecedent in the Michael Haney portrait.